Welcome to our journey of discovering the strange and wonderful characters of Greek mythology. Today we will meet one of the most extraordinary heroines, Atalanta, a girl raised by a bear living in the forest, fighting as a warrior and taking an oath that led to a tragic fate. In the mountains of Arcadia, King Iasos longs for a son to succeed him. But when his wife gives birth to a baby girl, his despair turns to cruelty. The king takes the child deep into the forest and abandons her there. No blankets, no one to care for her, just the cold of the night and the howling of wild animals. Her name is Atalanta. But nature is not all cruelty. Artemis, goddess of the forest and the hunt, saw the scene. She sent a mother bear to rescue the child. No meat, no harm. The mother bear cradled Atalanta, nursed her, kept her warm in the cold winter. A human child, living like the child of a wild animal. Atalanta grew up in the forest, learning to listen to the wind, to distinguish animal tracks, and to live as one with nature. One day, a group of hunters discovered her, a wild girl, as fast as the wind, with eyes like a leopard. They took her in, taught her to hunt, to wrestle, to live as a warrior. And soon she surpassed all the male hunters in strength, speed, and endurance. As an adult, Atalanta had no interest in love or marriage. She vowed to remain a virgin for the rest of her life, loyal to the goddess Artemis, who had given her life. And then a prophecy was made. If Atalanta loses her virginity, tragedy will strike. An ancient prophecy resounds in the sacred forest. The day Atalanta loses her virginity, disaster will strike. For the Greeks, prophecies were not to be taken lightly. And for Atalanta, a girl who had sworn to remain a virgin for life, it was fate that hung over her head. One misty morning in the deep forest, Atalanta was hunting deer when a dark shadow suddenly swooped down from the trees. It was not a wild animal, nor a hunter. It was two centaurs, Ricus and Hylaeus, half man, half horse creatures notorious. In the land of Calydon, a giant wild boar monster suddenly appeared. It was no ordinary wild boar. It was a monster sent by Artemis because King Calydon forgot to offer sacrifices to the goddess during the harvest festival. The boar ravaged the fields, killed the people, and caused the whole kingdom to be filled with fear. King Calydon sent out a call to all of Greece inviting heroes to slay the beast. Mythical names appeared: Jason, Theseus, Peleus, and among them a girl, Atalanta. Her presence caused a fierce debate. What does a woman hunt? Some were outraged, but Meleager, Prince of Calydon, was not. He was infatuated with Atalanta and vowed to defend her right to participate to the end. The hunt began in the dark forest. Everyone set up ambushes. Then there was a screech. The trees shook. The beast charged. It knocked down trees, crushed shields, and swept away all who stood in its way. In the midst of the chaos, an arrow flew. Whoosh! Atalanta hit the beast in the shoulder, sending it reeling. She was the first to wound the monster. Seizing the opportunity, Meleager rushed forward, thrusting his spear into the ground, killing the giant boar. Blood flowed red on the ground. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Meleager lifted the beast's head, turned to look at Atalanta, and presented her with the spoils. But the joy did not last long. Meleager's two uncles, Plexippus and Toxius, were furious. Why should the spoils of men be given to women? They jumped in to snatch the spoils from Atalanta. In a rage, Meleager drew his sword, killing both his uncles. Blood flowed in the forest, not of beast, but of relatives. But the tragedy did not end there. Meleager's mother, Queen Althea, was devastated when she learned that her son had killed his own brother. For a long time, she had kept a fateful piece of wood attached to Meleager's soul, and now, in pain and anger, she threw the wood into the fire. The fire burned, and Meleager fell, unhurt, but his heart stopped. A son, a hero, dead by his mother's hand. After all, Atalanta did not bring back the spoils. She hung the tusks and the beast's skin in the sacred forest of Artemis as a thank you and also a farewell to Meleager, who loved her to the end of tragedy. And from then on, in the wind of Calydon, people told each other, there was a female warrior who once made even the gods look on in silence. Her name was Atalanta. After her glorious victories, Atalanta returned in glory. Her father, who had abandoned her in the forest, was now proud and wanted to find her a husband to continue the family name. But Atalanta did not want to marry. She had sworn to remain a virgin, loyal to the goddess Artemis. However, under family pressure, Atalanta agreed, but set an unprecedented condition. I will only marry a man who can defeat me in a race. Whoever loses will die. The race was held in the middle of the wilderness. A long race course crossed dense forests, streams, and rocky slopes. Dozens of young men from all over came, fascinated by Atalanta's beauty and fame. But then, one by one, they were left behind, and according to the rules, they had to die. Some collapsed from exhaustion, some desperately begged for their lives. Some versions say that Atalanta herself, cold as fate, sent them off to Hades. In the midst of despair, another appeared, Milanian, who was called Hippomenes in some places, was not the fastest. He did not come with pride, but with heart and intelligence. Knowing that he could not defeat Atalanta by running, Milanian knelt and begged Aphrodite, the goddess of love. And Aphrodite, smiling at his true love, gave him 3 golden apples, picked from the garden of the Hesperides, the sacred, forbidden place. The race began. As always, Atalanta raced forward like the wind, but this time something was different. As Atalanta began to pull away, Milanian threw the first golden apple forward. The apple rolled, its golden light sparkling among the green grass. Curious, or fascinated, Atalanta paused, picked up the apple. Melanian passed. The second time, another apple. Atalanta hesitated but bent down. The third time, the last apple was thrown near the finish line. Atalanta, whether out of curiosity, greed, or a wavering heart, picked it up again. And just then, Melanian raced across the finish line. The race is over. For once, Atalanta loses, but not humiliated. She looks at Melanian, and in her eyes, there is recognition and perhaps affection. The fateful marriage is celebrated. But Greek mythology never ends happily. If you want to know what awaits them after the wedding, stay tuned for the next part. After Melanian won the race and married Atalanta, it seemed like they had a happy ending. But in Greek mythology, happiness doesn't last long. Melanian forgot one important thing. He didn't offer sacrifice to the goddess Aphrodite, who helped him win. This ingratitude angered Aphrodite. She instilled in them a strong desire, and they had sex right in the temple of Zeus, an act considered sacrilegious. Zeus did not forgive. In his rage, he turned Atalanta and Melanian into two lions, never to be human again. The ancient Greeks believed that male lions did not mate with female lions, but with other species. A poetic but cruel punishment. Love triumphs over fate, only to be bound to eternal solitude. But that was not the end of Atalanta's bloodline. Some legends say that she gave birth to a son named Parthenopaeus. The child's father, according to different versions, could have been Meleager, Melanian, or even the god of war Ares. Because pregnancy was a sign of losing virginity, Atalanta abandoned her child on the mountain, just as her father had abandoned her years ago. The boy was raised by a shepherd and grew up to become one of the 7 heroes in the attack on Thebes, part of the epic tragedy 7 Against Thebes. And perhaps what she left us with is this quote: "We live not as we wish to, but as we can." If you love Greek myths like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Each story is a lesson, a mirror reflecting human nature through the lens of mythology. See you in the next video.